ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ओम ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधाजलधे महितोपनिषत्कथितार्थनिधे हृदये कलये विमलं चरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम्। ॐ समस्तब्रह्मविद्या आचार्येभ्यो नमः। ऋषिभ्यो नमः, मुनिभ्यो नमः, गुरुभ्यो नमः, देवताभ्यो नमः, अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। मण्डूकमहर्षये गौडपादाचार्यवर्याय आद्यशङ्करसद्गुरवे अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ मूलमन्त्राणां पाठः। ॐ अथ अथर्ववेदान्तर्गतमाण्डूक्य उपनिषद शान्तिमन्त्रः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ओम अथ श्री आद्यशङ्कराचार्यः कृत मङ्गलाचरणश्लोकद्वयम्। ओम प्रज्ञानां शुप्रतानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्थविष्ठान् पुनरपि दिशणोद्वासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुग् मायया भोजयन्नः। माया संख्यातुरीयं पदम परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि। यो विश्वात्मा विदिज विषयान् प्राश्य भोगान् स्थविष्ठान् पश्चाच्चान्यान् स्वमतविभवान् ज्योतिषास्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरपि शनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगतगुणगणः पात्वसौ नस्तुरीयः। ॐ ओमित्येतदक्षरमिदगं सर्वं तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भवद्भविष्यत् इति सर्वमोङ्कार एव। यच्चान्यत्रिकालातीतं तदप्योङ्कार एव। सर्वं हि एतद् ब्रह्म अयमात्मा ब्रह्म सोऽयमात्मा चतुष्पात् जागरितस्थानः बहिष्प्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुक् वैश्वानरः प्रथमपादः स्वप्नस्थानः अन्तःप्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः एकोनविंशतिमुखः प्रविविक्तभुक् तैजसः द्वितीयः पादः। यत्र सुप्तो न कञ्चन कामं कामयते न कञ्चन स्वप्नं पश्यते तत्सुषुप्तं सुषुप्तस्थानः एकीभूतः प्रज्ञानघन एव आनन्दमयो हि आनन्दभुक् चेतोमुखः प्राज्ञः तृतीयः पादः। एष सर्वेश्वरः एष सर्वज्ञः एषोऽन्तर्यामी एष योनिः सर्वस्य प्रभवाप्ययो हि भूतानां नान्तः प्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानगनं न प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञम् अदृष्टमव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यमचिन्त्यं अलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेश्यम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवम् अद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः सोऽयमात्मा अधिअक्षरम् ओङ्कारः अधिमात्रं पादामात्राः मात्राश्च पादाः अकार उकारो मकार इति जागरितस्थानः वैश्वानरः अकारः प्रथमा मात्रा आप्तेः आदिमत्वाद्वा आप्नोति ह वै सर्वान् कामान् आदिश्च भवते य एवं वेद स्वप्नस्थानः तैजसः उकारः द्वितीया मात्रा उत्कर्षादुभयत्वाद्वा उत्कर्षति ह वै ज्ञानसन्ततिं समानश्च भवते न अस्य ब्रह्मवित्कुले भवति य एवं वेद सुषुप्तस्थानः प्राज्ञः मकारः तृतीया मात्रा मितेः अभीतेः वा मिनोति ह वा इदगं सर्वम् अभेदिश्च भवति य एवं वेद अमात्रः चतुर्थः अव्यवहार्यः प्रपञ्चोपशमः शिवः अद्वैतः एवम् ओङ्कारः आत्मा एव संविशति आत्मना आत्मानं य एवं वेद य एवं वेद। ओम श्री आद्य शंकराचार्य कृत अन्ते स्थित मंगलाचरण श्लोकत्रयम्। ओम अजमपि जनियोगं प्रापदैश्वर्ययोगात् अगति च गतिमत्तां प्रापदेकं ह्यनेकं विविधविषयधर्मग्राहिमुग्धे क्षणानां प्रणतभयनिहन्तृब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि प्रणतभयविहन्तृब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि प्रज्ञावैशाखवेधक्षुभितजलनिधेः वेदनाम्नोऽन्तरस्थं भूतान्यालोक्यमज्ञानि अविरतजनन ग्राहघोरे समुद्रे कारुण्यादुद्धधारामृतमिदमरैः दुर्लभं भूतहेतोः यस्तं पूज्याभिपूज्यं परमगुरुममुं पादपातैर्नतोऽस्मि यत्प्रज्ञालोकभासा प्रतिहतिमगमत् स्वान्तमोहान्धकारः मज्जोन्मज्जश्च घोरेः असकृत् उपजनोदन्वतित्रासने मे यत्पादावाश्रितानां श्रुतिशवविनय प्राप्तिरग्राह्यमोघा तत्पादौ पापनीयौ पावनीयौ भवभयविनुदौ सर्वभावैर्नमस्ये। इति श्रीमत्परमहंसपरिव्राजकाचार्यस्य गोविन्दभगवत्पूज्यपादशिष्यस्य श्रीमत्शङ्करभगवतः कृतो माण्डूक्योपनिषदः गौडपादीयकारिकाणां च भाष्ये चतुर्थमलादशान्तिप्रकरणं सर्वं परब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु। ओम शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ओम अथ अलादशान्त्याख्य चतुर्थप्रकरणम्। ओम ज्ञाने च त्रिविधे ज्ञेये क्रमेण विदिते स्वयं सर्वज्ञता हि सर्वत्र भवतीह महाधियः हेयज्ञेयाप्यपाक्यानि विज्ञेयान्यग्रयाणतः तेषाम् अन्यत्र विज्ञेयात् उपलम्भस्त्रिषु स्मृतः। By God's grace, Guru's Krupa, Mandukya Upanishad Acharya Parampara Krupa, 3 prakarnas we did, 4th we are almost towards the end of it, just becoming familiar. In this Heya, Gneya, Apya, Pakya, these things we have studied. In that, Gneya Vastu alone is real. That is Paramartha Satyam. That is Brahma. That is Ajam. That is Ekam. That is Advitiyam. Other than the 3 avasthas which were categorized as Heyam, then all these things of Yeshanatraya Tyagatva, then Bhikshutva, then Panditya, Balya, Mauna, these are all helping things, but they are not permanent. They are not there essentially in the self. But they, in the stage where we are now, from here to push us to that level of Aham Brahmasmi, they help. They don't have Paramarthika Satya. And also the Pakya, the Mohadi, the Shokadi, the Ragadi, the Dveshadi. As long as we don't see the Paramatma or the Brahma, in the ignorance and the ignorance born, the delusion that all these emotions in the mind keep on functioning. But when the truth is realized as it is, though it is tough, though it is not one life's job, yes, we keep on trying. One day when it clicks, then we will see that at that level, even the Paktavyani, the Pakyani, the Ragadvesha Mohadi, they get just dissolved. For all that, you can take the example, which is very familiarly given, that when the sun rises in the horizon, all the smoke or the fog starts slowly going away. Either you can say the darkness goes away or the fog goes away. The sky becomes clear. In the same way, the inner fog will go away when the Ekamevadvayam Brahma Anubhuti is gained through all our efforts. So this is what with mantra and the bhashya, the most important shloka of this karika we have studied. He yagneya apyapakya Vignayani Agreyanatah Tesham, in among them Anyatra Vignayat, other than the Vigneya Paramartha Tattva, all others are Upalambaha Smrutaha. They are only Mithya Kalpita, they are not in Paramatma, they are only useful at the level of sadhana. That also because we are at this side. Once you go the other side of the clouds, you are directly in contact with the sun. There are no clouds in between. There is no wind required to push the clouds. But if we are this side of the clouds and we want to see the sun, the clouds have to be removed. Then the wind has to come and they remove the cloud. You see the sun. So after seeing sun, clouds and all not required. But before seeing sun, because these clouds are blocking, the wind is required to send that. So too the cloud of ignorance is dispelled by the winds of Heya, Apya and Pakya. When these three have removed the ignorance, when the self is realized, that is Vigneya Vastu is known, then all these three are not required. Means what? Once you experience the self, the Vigneya Vastu, the Heya, the Jagra, Swapna, Sushupti are not at all there for us to struggle with them, to get caught up in them as samsari, nor a sadhana needed to Heya, give up them. So too, once we discover the self, that in that infinite one without self being or bliss, all the Panditya, Balya, Mauna, even three Eshana, Tyaga, वो टॉपिक ही नहीं रहेगा वहाँ. You have transcended it. In the same way, the Paktavya, Raga, Dvesha, Moha also are not there. Therefore, this is an answer to Apurva Pakshi when he says that means to do sadhana, you have to do the Heya Apya Vakya, therefore they are existing. He said, no, they are not there. They are only for sadhana. Upalambaha smrutaha. Upalambha means avidya kalpana matra. But it helps us. Therefore, we take the help of it. Vedanti doesn't hesitate to take the help of karma kandi to do karma to purify the antakarana. Though he denies karma as the result, as a cause for Paramatma Anubhuti, but at that level it helps, so he takes it. Vedanta doesn't believe in the Paramatma other than us. But for the sake of concentration, purification, the upasana of the upasakas, the Vedanta accepts. He uses it. He needs to reach ultimate. At this level, if they are required, he uses. He has not that type of ego. That ये तो मैं डिनाई किया हूँ, इसको यूज नहीं करता हूँ, ऐसा नहीं होता. It is required for sadhana, we use it. So too, he will not hesitate to use the yoga sadhana. All the yamanimadi, asanadi, they are required. And also the Prakriti Purusha Vivek of the Sankhya, that also is required for Vedanti. So he uses all of them. And finally, when he is pure, pakka about the means and goal, through contemplation, meditation, he reaches the self. Before that, he uses all of them. And in the ultimate, the Guru, Shishya, Shastra, Satsanga, none of them are there at that time. But before that, they are all used. So when we are using, the Purvapakshi says, so you are using, therefore you are believing in Dvaita. We say it's not so, they are required at that level, so we are using, that doesn't mean ultimately they are there. When it works, we have to use. Okay. Now, after having done this, Paramartha Tahu, the Paramartha Tahatu. So, and at the absolute level, this is the experience of the self that Jnani has. And that is what is the experience of everybody who becomes Jnani. So before they become Jnanis, they have to be told, Beta, you, like you, any number of jivas are there. Essentially, you all are that Paramatma. So the number of jiva bhavas are so many. From that standpoint, the plural is used. Means what? Essentially, all the reflections in the mirrors or all the reflections in all the waters in all the parties are one Paramatma only. Is it not? We have to use plural because you are at the level of seeing the plurality. So that plurality word, why it is used when you are talking about Ekameva Advayam Brahma, that is answered here, that it is from the perception of you and I who see many jivas that the plural is used. But the jiva, when they know the essential nature standpoint, they are not many, it is one. So that sloka. So Prakrutyakashavadneyaha sarve dharmaha anadayaha vidyate nahi nanatvam tesham kvachana kinchana. It is an absolute truth, what is said here. Therefore, it must be the absolute goal of all of us. And to reach this goal only, the Yajna Apyapakya, all that we did. So here Sarve Dharmaha means all the seeming limited, seeming different jivas. Like you, one jiva, I am one jiva. I am limited in my own upadhis. You are limited in your own upadhi. In the same way, so many jivas. In essence, all those jivas, finally, what are they? Prakrutya Akashavat. They are the Paramatma Swarupas only. All jivas are Paramatma Swarupas only, and all Paramatma Swarupas are like the Akasha as well as they are Anadayaha. Means what? In essence, every Rupanama Yukta Jivadi Bhava essentially are that Paramatma Tattva only, which is Anadi, includes Ananta, in between, Avyakruta, Avyakruta, then Ajara, Ananta becomes Amruta also. Four words you don't forget. Aja, Avyakruta, Ajara, and Amruta. Aja, Avyakruta, Ajara, Amruta. Aja means unborn. Avyakruta, unmodifying. Ajara, non-becoming old. Amruta means never dying. One word Anadi is used, all three we have to add. Or Ananta used, the other three we have to add. Avyakta used, the other three we have to add. All those four, if they understood together, then it will give an idea, oh, that state of being I have to experience at the moksha level, Atma Gnana level. The idea remains with us to help us. So that is one thing. But before that, Prakrutya Akashavad Gneyaha Sarve Dharmaha. Sarve Dharmaha is all the pure Atmas. Actually, pure Atmas is not a right word, it's not plural. But then, because we are at the differentiation level of Jivas seeing the Upadhi, the plural is used. तो सबके अंदर जो आत्माएं हैं वो आकाश के समान है, वो अनादि वाले हैं. दिस इज हाउ द लिटरल मीनिंग ऑफ इट इन हिंदी. इसका अर्थ ये नहीं कि so many atmas are there. That's how the way a test is given to us. After studying so many of the slokas of Advaita, let me test this student by using this word sarve, the plural. Sarve dharma. All the selves, essential selves in every individual are anadi, are akashavatu. Okay, then he doesn't want to confuse or frighten the audience long. Therefore, second line itself he says, Tesham kvachana kinchana nahi nanatvam nahi vidyate. In them, there is no nanatvam, even slight also, at any condition or place also, by any reason also. That is a state we have to keep it as aim and reach out. विद्यते नहीं नहीं विद्यते नानात्वम मेनीनेस तेषाम क्वचन किंचन. And any example, behind every wave the waters, behind every wave the waters. Okay, every wave are the jivas, the waters are atmas. In every wave, first every wave has its own atma. So 1,000 waves are there, 1,000 atmas are there. So the 1,000 atmas, just for each of the wave, are Akashavatu as well as Anadi. First thing you understand. Then those 1,000 waves are not 1,000. They're all one only in the form of water. Is there any manyness in the water behind every of the wave? Vidyate nahi nanatvam. Tesham kvachana kinchana. Anywhere in the world, wherever the waves are there, behind them, the essential thing is water, and in that water there is no two-ness. This is called as Sarvam Atma Eva Abhotu, Sarvatmya Bhava. So I have Panchakoshas, behind me I am Atma. You have Panchakosha, behind you the Atma. So the Atma in you, Atma in me are Akashavat and Anad. But This Akashavat Anadi Atma in you and in me are not actually, they are two. They are ekam only. Vidyate nahi nanatvam teshaham kvachana kinchana. There is no nanatvam in them. Then a question is asked, then who is, if there is Atma in me, if there is Atma in you, what is there in between you and me? Because there is a distance, there is a space. In that distance space, also what is there is pure conscious self only, expressing in the form of space, seen as space. This Atma Tattva is all pervading everywhere. It encompasses everything. Rather, in that only every Rupa Namadi are superimposed. It is so subtle. It's not perceivable by any of the Indriyas. That's the point there, no? But once it is experienced, no, it is so full. It is so full that there is no place where it's not there. And then in that again, these Panchabhautika Srushti comes and plays. Yet that doesn't get disturbed at all. At any moment, these Panchabhautika Srushti, Stula Sukshma Karana, can be manifested for some play, can be withdrawn also. That is the state of the self. So the Bhashakara, what did he say? He said yesterday, Prakrutya means by nature, Swabhavataha. So by nature, Swabhavataha, Akashavat, like the Akasha, means Akasha Tulyaha, almost comparable to the Akasha. But means whatever the Lakshanas are there in the Akasha, they are the Lakshanas of the self in every being. So, in some every being, let us talk about ourselves. So, I am there, I am talking to you, you are the listener. So, in me, the self which is there, it is Prakritya by nature. Akashavad, it is Akasha Tulya. What is that? Sukshma Niranjana Sarvagata. The self is means Sukshma, not beyond all, even Karana Sharira also. Sukshma. The Niranjana, in that Paramatma, like the Akasha, contains all the other four elements but not touched by them. And the Akasha is more subtler than all these four elements. So, Sukshmatva of the Akasha, if you can understand. Niranjanatva of Akasha, if you can understand. And third one is Sarvagatatva. Is it not? Akasha has widespread everywhere. एंड इवन आकाश को भी परमेट करके है अंतःकरण मन, इवन द मन को भी परमेट करके है द आत्मवस्तु. एंड मन इज सटलर देन आकाश, आत्मवस्तु इज सटलर देन इवन द मन, एंड दैट आत्मवस्तु इज मी. So wherever there is akasha, there is mana. Wherever there is mana, there is paramatma. This is what we study. This is easily detailedly explained in Ishavasya Upanishad with Bhashya. Isn't it? Tadejati, tannai tatu dure, tadu antike, tadu antarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha, anejato ekam manasah javiyaha, एनत देवा आपनुवन पट पूर्वमर्शत तद्धावतः अन्यानत्तेति तिष्ठतु तस्मिन् अवः मातरिश्वा ददाति. See, if those 2-3 mantras with bhashya, if we study, this doubt goes away. Ki in me the Atma, okay, understand beyond Panchakosha. Then how do you say it is Sarvagata? Aramana, the Sarvata of the place of Kala or in the mind. Wherever the mind is there, there the conscious self is there. But you and I are different. In between empty space is there. This talk we are talking by taking ourselves the Deha. देह दृष्टि से आप वहां हैं, मैं इधर हूं, हमारे बीच में खाली जागा है. But when you are talking about Advaita Brahma Tattva, not the Deha, you have to shift our understanding and attention also. At that understanding level, you and me also are in the space only. And you and me as the Deha are nothing but the grassified space only. This Deha is space grossified only, no? In that understanding, when the gross body's identity is kept aside and then understood that it is nothing but space, then you are there, I am there, in between there is space. This doubt goes away. Space is there, space is here, space is in between. And there, at that place in space, that space is grossified as you. Here, the space is grasped as me. In between, it did not graspify as anything. But what is basically space? From that standpoint, when you see, the Sarvagatattva is understood. So, see, the space का दोनों position क्या है? It is permeating all the four elements which are grossification of itself. Prithvi, Jalaha, Agni, Akasha. Asir Agni, Vayu. These are grossified space, but in all of them, space is there. Then, when these four are not there, there also space is there. And that space where these four are not, there is much more than the four elements wala space. First, Sarvagatattva of the Akasha we have to understand. Then Niranjanatva, wherever the space is grossified to become these four elements, with these grossification, the space is untouched. It is Niranjana. इसका वो लेपन नहीं होता है. This is what is deeply to be contemplated. From the space air came, but air will not wet or dry the space. From the space the fire came, so the fire will not heat up or cool the space. From the air, space the waters came, but water will not wet the water space. From the space came the earth. Because of the earth, in the space there is a heaviness or the smell. This is how we have to keep on contemplating. In the same way, in the pure self, even though the Veshti Samashti Jagat expressed in the form of upadhis of various types, and in all those upadhis continuously modifications are happening, and each of upadhi have their own dharmas, their own names, their own forms, their own modification, and most importantly, their own functionings. All these things, just like all those four elements, their birth, their change, their disappearance, doesn't affect the earth, the space. In the same way, all these that are happening are not touching the self at all. That's called Niranjanatva. To understand it in a big way, the Srushti Sthiti Laya doesn't touch Paramatma. And the birth, change, and modification and death of the snake doesn't touch the rope at all. So too, the Srushti Sthiti Laya of all the three avasthas which are continuously happening in us do not touch the self in me. Though they are all the expression of self only in an ignorant state of being, yet they don't touch. That's the meaning of Niranjanatva. So the waveness doesn't touch the water. Ornamentness doesn't touch the gold. Potness doesn't touch the mud. In the same way, the worldness, with all its plurality, duality, doesn't touch the self, which is one without second. That is Niranjana. Lucky. If something would have happened to the water when it is appeared as wave, then there would have been no water for us to drink because everything became wave. लेकिन कुछ नहीं होता उनको, वेव एक्सप्रेस होता है. When you contemplate on these examples deeply, no, then slowly the depth of understanding happens to our intellect. That's called Sukshmata. Sukshmata of the Buddhi is to contemplate on such examples and understand subtle things and applying same to the self. And this is what in the beginning for some decades the contemplation is done. In the heat of the contemplation, two things. The possibility of that very sublime self is accepted. Then the understanding also of the experience of the self starts happening. Therefore, these grosses, these subtles have to be devalued, have to be unminded about. The moment you stop minding them, the mind is no more there, then you will experience self ये क्लिक होता है when you keep on contemplating. You know how to see water in a wave. When you reject to see the waveness, then you will see water. But it's so tough that wave is keeping on moving, it catches our attention. So we can't see the water. How to see the gold? Don't see the ornamentation. You see the gold as it is. So don't see all the upadhi krita jagat of nama rupa, then what you see is Paramatma. That is called Divya Darshana. That is called Atma Darshana, Brahma Darshana. So Prakrutya Swabhavatah Akashavato Akashatulyaha means Sukshma Niranjana Sarvagatatvaihi. In the Sarvagatatva, all pervasiveness, infinitude has come. But because of the thickness of our habit for millions of lives, living as a Dehatadhatmya, this idea doesn't sink into us easily. That is why in the beginning only, Aham Dehosmi, we have to translate. Otherwise, the Sukshma Jnana will not enter into us. Because anything we see or say or speak or listen, basically we took ourselves as Jiva and Deha. अब इसको पकड़कर इससे पूरा अलग वाले कॉन्सेप्ट को समझना, एक्सेप्ट करना मुश्किल ही होता है, असंभव ही होता है. How can I be all pervading? Such a direct question. Because I am here in a hall, seated in a sofa with this much weight head. पागल है क्या? How can I be all pervading? Isn't? How can I be Niranjana? Every happening in the mind, in the world, is influencing me. Is it not influencing my mind in its emotions, adding to my knowledge in the intellect, changing my body from young to the old? मैं तो हर बार अनजनत तो हो ही रहा हूँ. Everything is influencing me. And how can I be सूक्ष्म? देखो इतना स्थूल दिख रहा हूँ मैं. So these things have become thick. That's why overnight hota nahi Vedanta. Long, long, long lives of again and again listening, contemplating, listening, contemplating, and while doing so, minimizing all our involvements, which cancel this Sukshma Atma Jnana, which strengthen our identity with the Jiva Bhava और स्थूलादि. उससे दूर रहना ही पड़ेगा वो. Otherwise the Maya Moha is so powerful. It pulls us into world and it makes us forget all the jnanam which gained about the real self. That it is Sukshma, it is Sarvagatatva, it is Niranjana. सब भूल जाते हैं सेकंड्स में. इसलिए कम से कम इन्वॉल्वमेंट is required. And for that we have to know it is mithya, it is unwanted, it is your powerful vasanas inside you which are making the world appear not only as real but appearing to be so important that I can't live without that. ये बातें थोड़ा ध्यान से सूक्ष्मता से समझकर then the non necessity of the world when we discover, then we will be able to keep away. But the vasanas, the more we make them stronger, then the world appears to be essential, real, must and compulsory. And the entire mind intellect works in terms of only the world and worldliness, in terms of how to possess this world. He is called a pakka samsari. Samsari, anybody can be, just like from samsara only somebody became sadhak. कोई हमेशा टिकता नहीं unless you टिकाओ it. With all these 2 years of life study of Vedanta, maybe even 10 more years you may listen, सारे छोड़कर एक ही सेकंड में संसारी बन सकते हैं. जैसे आप साधक बन गए, हम ये नहीं कह रहे, बट फिर भी अगर बन गए, मानो कभी कभी अच्छे अच्छे गलत फहमियाँ होते हैं कि नहीं. One of the good galat fehmi is what? I am doing sadhana. All that thing just dissolves, fizzles out the moment we are into this. Anytime it can happen to anyone, consistently. Okay, because of my vasanas, the world is becoming important. So reduce vasana, reduce importance to the world, then always dwell or delve or revel in these knowledge only. That I am the self, whose nature, like space, is Niranjana, Sarvavyapaka, and Sukshma. So aham Sukshmat Sukshma asmi, aham Niranjanosmi, aham Sarvagatosmi, Akashavatu, aham Ajaha asmi, aham Avyakruta asmi, aham ajarah asmi, aham amrutah asmi. Or the other way, tadatma yad sa atma yaha ajaraha ajaha amrutaha is aham asmi. That's why in Vedanta, na, Hamesha, one part of the intellect should be hooked onto this knowledge of the truth. Else, that's forgotten. The intellect takes up what's proposed by the mind, called as something other Paramatma, the worldliness. That is the biggest price we have to pay, the biggest effort we have to put. That always alert about, conscious about what am I? What am I? Akashavat Sukshma Sarvagata Niranjana Anadi. Then what is Anadi here said? Anadi and Ajara Amara Dvaya, then Anadi. Aja Ajara Avyakruta, then Ananta. Adi nahi hai. This is what a corner of thought should always be. You may be watching TV, you may be with people, you may be doing your duty, but one thought should go on. I am that, I am that, I am that. Like the mother who doing all the work, but I am the mother of that child, I am the mother of child, that child may get up, I have to give him whatever. So a corner of her is always hooked to that. If, as the result of all our these many years of struggle to study Shastra, if this thing we gained, these two, three things. One, by all means, I must experience the self and get liberated from the Jiva Deha limitation. ये वाला बनते रहना मन में, strong बनते रहना. Second is what? Always wanting to go into the meditational modes. ये want ये होना चाहिए अंदर. I want to know the self and get liberated from not self. And I should enter into that meditational mode always. Third one is what? Always conscious of I am that, I am that, I am that. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. ये इतना ज्यादा कर सकते हैं ना, much more than any of the upasanas, any japa, kirtana, shruti, etc., any of the upasana or bhajan kirtana is this particular sadhana. That's why in all Prakarana Granthas, our Shankara Bhagavan and others make us do this practice. If you read yesterday's and day before day, Advaita Pancharatnam, and today onward we may study the Atma Tattva Anusandhanam or Vedanta Dindima. One of the texts, I have not decided. Afterwards only I will see. One is of 8 shlokas, and is of 28 or 29. So either of them we will study. Maybe Atma Tattva Anusandhanam or Nirvana Manjari or Vedanta Dindima. Small shall let us study for some time. In that you will see Shivoham Shivoham Chidanandarupah Shivoham Shivoham Nirvana Shatkam. Always the mind should hook on to I am that, I am that. And I must be that, I must be this. I should reach that, I should reach that. Further, I must reject this, reject this. I must reject out of this, reject out of this. That feeling. Like in the initial days of class, I'm a bhogi, I'm a samsari, I'm bhogi, I'm samsari. I must go to eat food, I must go to watch TV, I must go to sleep. Let the class be over quickly, let the class be over quickly. These were the thoughts in the beginning days. सबको होते हैं, इसको खत्म करो उधर जा. In the same way, ये जल्दी खत्म हो जाए, let me go to the self. This is the only antidote to what I said earlier. Let me go to the world. Let me see the world. Let me enjoy the beauty of the world. Let me possess the world. Let me indulge in the world. Let me consume the world. Let me find sukha in the world. So many Rakshasas in us, this type of, are pushing us into the world. Then which are the Ramabana which will kill them? Only this one. The rishis are saying, the gurus are saying, the shastra is saying that I am that self like the Akasha, which is Sukshma, Niranjana Sarvagata and Anadi Ananta. Let me experience it. क्या है वो पूरा समझ आया नहीं होगा, doesn't matter. But that strength of that feeling will make us pursue it single pointed. When we point single pointedly pursue, slowly the depth comes in understanding. Gambhirata comes in being aloof from the world. Then dhyana nishta comes consistently. Anubhuti happens in dhyana. Everyone, it is like that. If you come out of that bubble of the Atmagnana, immediately the Corona Omicron exe of the worldliness will possess us so fast. And once we are possessed by this world, then all the vasanas manifest, all the vikaras in the mana come, then the world also trying to tempt us. फिर फंस गए फिर एक सेकंड में हो जाते हैं शब्द स्पर्श रूप रसगंध वस्तु व्यक्ति देन ऑल द पोजीशन पोजीशन सुख भोग फंस जाते हैं एक सेकंड में बबल से आना ही नहीं बाहर अहम ब्रह्मास्मि बबल अच्छा है ना अहम ब्रह्मास्मि बबल लाइक द प्लेयर्स हैव देयर ओन क्रिकेट में ना बयो बबल में बिठा के उनको लास्ट 2 ईयर दे फ्रस्ट्रेटेड सो मच किसी को दिमाग खराब ही हो गया वो छोड़ के गए वो गेम वी विल नॉट प्ले इट सो डिस्टर्बिंग इट इज but they don't know that they were safe in that and they could play the game without getting diseased. So to play the game of the world without getting disease of samsara by living in the bubble that my goal is Paramatma and Paramatma is this one. And in every being the self is like that only and such selves are not two. स्वप्रकृत्या स्वभावतः आकाशवत् आकाशतुल्याः सूक्ष्म निरंजन सर्वगत तत्वैः सर्वगतत्वैः that is the nature of self. Then what are the three avasthas which we rejected by heya? What are these apyas? They are all not there in the atma. Atma itna hi hai bas. ये सूक्ष्म सर्वगत and niranjana and aja amara and it is such existing, it's called existence and it's the awareness, therefore it is awareness nature. This is how the explanation of the self can be completely given. Then all the heya apyapakya they are not at all there in that. Okay, then sarvagatattvaihi sarve dharmaha atmana, so by nature all the selves in all are of this nature only. All the golds in all ornaments, and all the muds in every of the pot, in all pots. So, because from the pots standpoint we are seeing, we are using the plural as muds. But then, when you reach to the mud level, it is one without second behind every pot. It's the same. So, plural word doesn't be there, doesn't is not useful there, not required there. बट हियर इज यूजिंग जस्ट टू से कि साहब जीवों में वही परमात्मा है उनको देखो तो उनके जीवभाव में ना फंसना फंस कर खुद अपने जीवभाव को निर्माण नहीं करना दिस इज मोर हेल्पफुल देन आवर ओन inquiry about the self because inquiry about the self while we are pursuing when we have not established in that and in between when we look into the world suddenly the world is seen again as people again some relativity some relation comes or some expectation come suddenly we become worldly such a wonderful person I am when I am with myself doing my own contemplation of atma suddenly when I see you the friendship is remembered the other relatives is remembered all the lane then with you is remembered immediately the sadhaka in me who was really reaching to the deeper meditation becomes samsari in one moment. Therefore, in our own interest of protecting sadhaka and sadhana in us, any being we see, we must say he is also Atma, he is also Jivan, nahi hai, Deha nahi hai. In general, like the self in me is like space, so too the self in everyone is like that space. General. Particularly, therefore, whenever I look at anyone, I need not create any relativity because in their absolute nature, all of them are the same self like the Akash. Sarvagata, Sukshma, Niranjana. And at that level, we are one. We are never separate. Therefore, neither with Desha we can go away from each other, nor with Raga we not come closer. You understand this? Interesting word. I'll tell you one thought today. With your bhavanas of devotion or love, you can always be in contact with your departed elders. Is it not? Like your parents died, but you love them so much. So you can say, remember their face, remember their name, and remember all what love they gave, help they gave, extend your gratitude, and just tell to the Lord, oh Lord, put them in the higher right spiritual path. And you can feel the affinity always with the departed elders. They are not away from you. Somewhere they are there in the same globe. You are also in the same globe. तो है ही कट्टे ही हैं, देख नहीं पा रहे बस उतना ही, बट यू कैन कॉन्टैक्ट द भावनात्मक connection. So you are in contact only. Like when I remember my mother, she died 30 years back. But still I remember, means she's with me only even now. This is भावनात्मकता से अपने प्यारे लोगों से जुड़े रहना. And all your emotions, all your prayer, they reach them. If you are in a Mahayogi sthiti, transcending your own upadhi, then you can see where every jiva is there. That's different. This is not our point. Our main point is when we reach to even beyond that stage as the self, we are never two, we are never separate. We can't be separate only. That's what the first sloka of Gita. After Pandita Anana Shochanti, Bhagavan said, Natvevaham jatu nasam, Natvam nime janadipaha, Nachaiva nabhavishyamaha, Sarve vayam atah param. There was no time where these were not there, you were not there, I am not there. Now they are there, you are there, I am there. In future also, they will be continuous, you are continuous, I am continuous. From which standpoint Bhagavan must have told? Only from the Atma Drishti. That is why Hanumanji said, the Atma Drishtya Tameva Aham. You and me are one. From the self standpoint, we can never be separated. As a Jiva, you can have Bhavanatmaka unity and enjoy. As a Dehato, we can never be together only. Never be together, even while being together also. आत्म दृष्टि से कभी हम अलग नहीं हो सकते, देह दृष्टि से हम कभी एक नहीं हो सकते. These are the facts we have to entertain more and more. The entertainment of these facts more and more is the scrubbing or is a sabun, the soap, which cleans off all emotions, all longings, all belongings. That's what we become pure from. That's what the meaning of purity. Purity means non-attachment. That's what, no? A pure thing is not attached by anything. The purity is non-attachment. That's only in the practice of this type of things it is achieved. So, whenever you and I feel separate, anybody, Abdul, immediately from the self standpoint, we are one. Then develop the standpoint of the Atma Tattva and that also oneness. Then the Anekatva and that all will be go. Even hatred also. अब क्या करो आत्म दृष्टि से हम एक ही हैं, तो with hatred I can't push you away. Therefore, it is best to have a hatred. And from the Atma Tattva standpoint, we are never separate from each other. Therefore, it is unnecessary to have to raga and try to become one. It's not required. We are already one. In this way, from the Atma Drushti, drop raga dvesha. Then you will see the Atma really. Yeah, I am that. You are that. We are one. Not as easy as said. But when you work on that sincerely, continuously, we get like anything when you seriously, sincerely work, it works. The cooking, the plantation, anything when you sincerely, single-mindedly with love you do, it gives spectacular results. इन द सेम है ना, लाइक चोरी भी कर सकते हैं, डकैती कर सकते हैं, धोखा भी कर सकते हैं, अगर दिमाग लगाकर सोच कर करने से. इज इट नॉट? यू कैन लव द वर्ल्ड, यू कैन सर्व द वर्ल्ड if you have dimag and use it properly and plan it and work out. So to this also can be worked out if you use our intellect, put the due effort. So prakrutya swabhavatah akashavat akashatulyaha means sukshma niranjana sarvagatattvaihi. What are they? Sarve dharmaha. So these three are the gunas of the akasha. Like that, the atma also, like the akasha, is of these gunas. What is that? It is sukshma. Atyanta sukshma. It is sukshma even than avyakrita prakriti. Prakriti is sukshma, then stula and sukshma. You know? Stula is the gross world, sukshma is the inner world. Prakriti is more sukshma than these two, the maya, the avyakrita. उससे भी सूक्ष्म है परमात्मा, सूक्ष्मात सूक्ष्मतरम. the self. So to the second one, like the Akasha, Niranjana. This we have to discover. The gold is not touched by the ornaments which it is supporting. Self in me is not touched by the entire upadhis which are supported by me, the self. नहीं होता उसका लेप इसको नहीं होता. So the birth of wave doesn't make the water born. The becoming big of the wave, becoming bigness of the wave doesn't make the water become big. Slowly the wave is dying, the water will not die. That's means of niranjanatva. मतलब उपाधि उपाधियों के धर्मों से ये परमात्मा लिप्त नहीं होता है. That is what is that meditation. Upadhistopi tad dharmaihi aliptaha vyomvat munihi sarvavit mudhavat tishtet asakto vayuvat charetu. These are the slokas in Atma Bhuta. Beautiful text. Niranjana we explained. Sukshma we explained. That is what? Third is what? Sarvagatatva. Sarvagata. That we already explained. Two things remember. Wherever there is space, there is Paramatma. Wherever there is mind, there is Paramatma. Where the space and mind enter in the contemplative deep samadhi, these two are not there, but Paramatma Mahavirayega. This is Sarvagata. यथाकाशस्थितः स्थितो वायुः सर्वत्र गोमहान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि वस्तानि. So यथा सर्वगतं सूक्ष्माद् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्र वस्तु देहे तथात्मा नोपलिप्यते. All the Gita shlokas. Contemplate on it. I am that self which is all pervading. I am that self which is untouched. I am all that self which is subtler, subtler, subtler. And to reach to that, we have to give up gross. अब पकड़ के रखे रहते हैं ग्रास. एक प्रार्थना आज से शुरू करते हैं. भगवान, लेट मी गेट आउट ऑफ द ग्रास आइडेंटिटी, लेट मी गेट इनटू द सटलिटी. ऐसे मांगते रहना. Unless we ask the Lord, we don't ask the self in us. Self को ही पूछ रहे हैं हम, भगवान को पूछने का अर्थ. That itself is, in other words, strengthening the sankalpa of this type. That sankalpa strong alone takes us on to meditational seat where we are ready to transcend the grass. In fact, whatever the duties, compulsions we do throughout day, सुबह दोपहर शाम at least 10 15 minutes, we have to decide, sit and decide कि I am these 10 minutes transcending the grass, identifying with the subtle. Actually, we should do. Then out of the force of vasanas or some outer worldly sankalpa, you may come out of meditation. Doesn't matter. But these 15 minutes, let me be into subtlety. Like everything. Let me this half an hour be away from deha. Let me be away from the indriyas and perception. Let me away from this particular individuality I am, who has got this duty or responsibility or this job. वे ध्यान में बैठने के समय ये सब मैं नहीं हूँ, साइड पे रखना है. Then this half an hour I am only the sadhaka, seeker, seeking myself. Self is these lakshanas. So either seek it by understanding it, or if it is all understood, seek it by being that, one with that. This we do 10 minutes. What is dhyana? Everyday sitting. Nahan dehosmi, nahan jivosmi, aham brahmasmi. Nahan dehosmi, nahan jivosmi, aham brahmasmi. This is what every day we have to add these vasanas more. Samskaras more, practices more, perfections more. Like you see, from last 4 days, every day when we are chanting the Mula mantras of our first Prakarana, Agama Prakarana, are we not becoming familiar with those shlokas? Prajnanam Shupratanai Sthirachara Nikara Vyapya Lokan. Same way, when we everyday practice morning, doper, evening about Naham Jivosmi, Nahan Devosmi, Ham Brahmasmi, we become familiar with that. Then the question, which Brahma? That's what is explained. Ekameva Advayam, which is like Akasha, which is Sukshma, Niranjana, Sarvagata. Then Aja, Ajara, Avyakrita, Amara. This is the way the experience of self is reached. Self is an experience. It is not an object which is explained or which is detailedly talked about, described. Hope you are understanding from the day one common problem that सब कुछ बताया जा रहा है सेल्फ के बारे में, लेकिन सेल्फ नहीं बताया जा रहा है, क्योंकि सेल्फ बताया नहीं जा सकता, इट इज ओनली एक्सपीरियंस. क्लियर. Now we will see next one. In this way, Gneyaha. This is how we have to understand. Mumukshubihi. So every mumukshu must know theoretically, later on you'll have to work out that every expression of the world in the form of jivas are nothing but the akashavat sukshma sarvagata sarvavyavaga atma only. Every expression of jiva is same atma. This came in the beginning only. Atma hi akashavat jiva hi ghatakashai revoditaha. Sangata, that shloka in the beginning of this Alatha or earlier Prakarana Visa. So, mumukshubihi gneyaha. If you are a mumukshu, you must know you are the self like the space with these qualities. Then work on that self. When you reach that, you experience. When you experience it, we have become fulfilled in our mumukshuta because we become mukta from the anatma. अनात्म तादात्म्य से मुक्ति ही मुक्ति, मुक्ति ही हित्वा अन्यथा रूपम स्वरूपेण व्यवस्थित. इज इट नॉट? भागवतम. नो अनादयः मीन्स नित्याः. It's such a consoling thought if we really become deeper about it. That I am that self like the space, and as well I am nitya, I am always there. The fear of absence is the one which makes us do million things. अरे यू आर दैट सेल्फ विच इज नित्य. देखो उसको कोई बिगाड़ नहीं सकता, उसको कोई खत्म नहीं कर सकता. इट इज नेवर एंडिंग. आई एम द नित्य सेल्फ. See that joy coming that when you feel that I am going to be eternal. But not as body, please. The body will perish. Not even as jiva. It will have to be dissolved only. But as Atma, I am the Nitya. Wonderful it is. नो इतना सुनने के बाद हमको महसूस होना है कभी कभी ऐसे वंडरफुल सर्वव्यापक नित्य आत्मा को छोड़कर एक बेवकूफ की तरह द अनित्य देहादि आइडेंटिफिकेशन वी आर हैविंग एंड ट्राइंग टू वर्क आउट फॉर द नित्य आनंद इन देम. नो दिस टाइप ऑफ थॉट्स फीलिंग्स we can feel only when we are in satsang, only when our rishi parampara is speaking to us on the Vedanta Shastra Upanishads. When you are off the track or going up further, even you are on the seat of meditation, 90% of struggle is only to control the mind. These thoughts very rarely come. If they come only to that person who has got deep, pure devotion to Guru and Shastra. That Guru and Shastra who are seated in him because of his devotion, they reveal to him these type of thoughts. Which thought? Instead of knowing and being the Nitya Atma, how I am identifying with the Anitya Upadhi and trying to become Nitya? Is it not a waste struggle? Is everything like that? I only am projecting the people around me and relating with them with their various relations. I am struggling to get sukha from that. This has to click to us. Then only we will get the real vairagya and free our mind from all commotions. Where are you all to me? In my own mind. Whatever the opinion I have for you, where am I in my own mind? And where am I enjoying or becoming miserable? In my own mind. Is it not? Then why do you do that? Instead of that, transcend the mind, see the self which is everywhere there. In that self knowledge, neither you are there, nor I am there, nor the attachment with each other there, nor aversion is there, nor the struggle is there to continue attachment, nor misery is there because of any separation. उस आत्मा में तो हो ही नहीं सकता ऐसा. You know, only in the class these thoughts are powerfully given. The moment we go out of class, we are in the familiar world of samsara only. फिर वही विचार आएंगे वहाँ. Now you get an idea that Be in the class under the guidance of master, then take the master and the class and text in the mind and go wherever you want and do the same thing. What happens in the pure Vedantic ashrams is this only. Like this only, morning, afternoon, evening, the disciples are with the Guru, listening from his mouth all the tattva. Thereafter, they go in some corner, they are gone brooding only on that, reveling only on that, contemplating only on that. That brings to them that sukshmata, that subtlety. Then they experience it one day. If they are not doing what Guru taught in the class and doing manmani or giving value to the world perceived by the senses, etc., then all this wisdom he gained, knowledge he gained, it is removed. It doesn't become effective. He forgets that. He becomes worldly. By the way, we have to know all this, and this is how sadhana happens. अदरवाइज पागल लोग थोड़ी थे ऋषि मुनि लोग कि सब छोड़कर एकांत में जंगल में जाकर ध्यान करें. They know when you are in this world, you can never have the peace of mind to meditate on this self. How much ever you say, I'll see the world, Lord in the world, I say the world is mithya, जितना भी कहो, अब आंख खोल दिया तो you will see the world, you are caught up. So too, in the hustle and bustle of the town and city, with the skyscraper buildings seen around, with all the movement of vehicles and people and all, thinking that I become Vedanti or Sadhaka is cheating ourselves. वन डे सब किक करके परमात्मा में जाना है बस. नहीं तो सारे दरवाजे खिड़कियां बंद करके सारे दीवारों पे जंगलों का पेड़ पेंटिंग करके बीच में बैठो ध्यान. नेवर गो आउट. In the cities, you know, you not go into the world. World enters to you with all the sounds and pollutions and informations and news. है ना? So, आप गए बड़ा बिल्डिंग में, यू वांट टू मेडिटेट बट यू कांट हेल्प समबडी स्टेइंग बाहर. किसी के घर में कुकर का आवाज आ रहा है, कोई मियाँ बीवी लड़ रहे, कहीं बच्चे को डांट रहे पेरेंट्स, कहीं कार की आवाज हो रही है. These are all worldliness only, no? Then we'll be influenced by them. By the way, I'm saying, one may say that I am able trying to, it's a very tough effort it is. Being here and trying to rise above these grossest things. एक रहस्य आज बताता हूँ. ना ग्रॉस चीजों को ना लात मार के किक करना है, उससे कोई पंगा नहीं लेना. इन हिंदी neither take panga nor take a challenge with it. Leave it, that's it. That's the easiest way. In other words, this city town atmosphere is non-conducive for meditation. Therefore, leave it and go to a atmosphere like an ashram. That's it. अदरवाइज यहाँ रहकर इन सबको अवॉइड करते हुए मन को एकाग्र करने में ही जिंदगी सब गुजर जाता है. It's an interesting thing. Anyway, by the way, it's a helpful tip, that's all, not in the topic. Now, next one, Bahuvachana Krita Bheda Ashankam Nirakurvan Aha. When the Karikakara used Bahuvachana, people may think that such Atmas are many. No, 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 it is not so. The Karikakara himself is saying, second shloka, the Bahuvachana used from the Avidya standpoint where you see you are Jiva, others are Jiva, so many are there. But otherwise, from the self stands one only. Therefore, in the second line, what did he say? Kvachana kinchana kinchid anumatramapi tesham na vidyate nanatvam iti. Beautiful it is. From this standpoint, we say the Atma in everyone is like, or Atmas in everyone are like Akasha, Sukshma, Sarvagata, as well as the Niranjana. And then Aja Ityadi, Ajara. But when you reach to that, there is no difference that there is an Atma in you and Atma in me, and my Atma is Telugu Atma, your Atma is Punjabi Atma. ऐसा नहीं होता फिर वहां जाकर. और मैं आत्मा गोरा वाला, आपका सांवला रंग वाला या काला वाला. इन आत्मा ऐसे नहीं होते हैं. रिमेंबर, कलर डिफरेंसेस, साइज डिफरेंसेस, नो. There's no two there to differentiate also. That's why they say it's like water merging in water. One. You can't say there are दो अलग पानी है. Oil merging in the oil. नहीं, नहीं, तेल में डालता हो गया वो, पानी में डालता एक हो जाता, 2 पानी अलग नहीं होते वो, इन द सेम वे। देयरफॉर तेषां क्वचन किंचन नानात्वं न विद्यते। न विद्यते। That is the self. That you have to aim it. And that is seen inside you in your own cave of heart. To reach to the cave of heart, you have to travel to there from where you are. Where you are now, in the town and city and chaurasta of all the indriyas. Isn't it? चौरस में खड़े हैं, 4 रास्ते हैं, कैसे जा सकते हैं? तो वी आर द थ्रेशोल्ड ऑफ द माइंड, तो थ्रू एनी ऑफ द सेंसेस वी आर रनिंग इनटू दैट पर्टिकुलर फील्ड। कान को पकड़ा, आवाज़ों में गए, आँख को पकड़ा तो रूपों में चले गए, नाक को पकड़ा तो स्मेल्स में गए, यू होल्ड ऑन टू टंग, यू वेंट इनटू द वर्ल्ड ऑफ द टेस्ट्स। देन हाउ कैन यू एंटर इनटू द केव ऑफ योर हार्ट देन? सो टू एंटर इनटू द केव ऑफ द हार्ट, आवृत चक्षु, इज इट नॉट? एवरीडे अपने हृदय को हर में जाना है हमको, और ढूंढना कुछ समय के लिए मैं कौन हूँ, कहाँ हूँ, कैसे हूँ। शुरुआत में समझ में नहीं आता वो, बट व्हेन frequently start doing, then take the help of guidance of guru. Said the one who is searching for someone there, that someone is you only. There's nobody other than you there. When you reach the guha, hurdaya guha, it is not that there's an atma with whom you shake hand. When you reach the hurdaya guha, you will find yourself is that. There, the seer himself is seen. That is called the cave of heart. The searcher himself is the searched or seeking thing, sought thing. I am that. And that alone is filling the heart. And that alone is filling the entire universe. That experience. Now, avatarika. Gneyata api dharmanam samvrutya eva na paramarthatah iti aha. Ismat. Now, this is very subtle sloka it is. These next two are, it's impossible for me to explain, doubly impossible for you to understand. Unless we tune to Karikakar and Bhashyakar. Hey Bhagavan, hey Adi Guru, hey Moola Guru, hey Parama Guru, hey Sadguru, please bless us. Parama Guru is Karikakara. Adi Guru is Shankara. Moola Guru Dakshinamurti. Sadguru is our Gurudev. Please bless us. Let us understand it. Now, what is the avatarika? Gneyata api dharmanam. See, it's very subtle. The knowability of these atmas also, that it is to be known, it is to be seen, it is to be perceived, it is to be experienced. This is what we continuously talk about. Then only you get mukti. The gneyata also of the Paramatma, of the self, samvrutya eva na paramartataha. Even that gneyatva also is samvruti only. It's only an indicated way of saying, but in that there's no gneyata there, that it is to be known. Because it is self-known, it is self-evident, it is the nature of knowledge only. How can it become gneya also? So at this level of explanation, there the gnayata, gneya, the difference also being finally dissolved. उसमें ज्ञेयता नहीं है. They'll give an example in the Bhashya in the next two mantras. Ki in the sun, there is no need of his own light also for his own proof or anybody else's proof. Why? Because he is nature of light. A very subtle thought it is. This shloka talks about. Means what? Atma is not an object to be known as if it is an object. इसमें ज्ञेयता नहीं है, वो मैं हूं और मैं जानता हूं मेरे आप को, अपने आप को. That's how just effortless being is the realization of self. Effortful becoming is samsara. Effortless being. There's not even ज्ञेयता. What do you mean I have to know the Atma? अरे मैं वही हूँ already. Like a highly evolved Vedanta says, what do you mean by Ramnami and puja to Rama? I am Rama. Where is Rama other than me? What is Rama? Atma. I am Atma. So I am only Rama. Where is Rama other than me? For me to do his puja, know me. What do you mean by birth of Rama? Are, I am that self. Rama is that self who is unborn and undying. ये सबको नहीं समझ में आता. These grass people will have their own Ramnavami and all. But the Atmajnani says, where is Krishna Janmashtami? Where is Shivaratri? Hare, I am that already. In the same way, of the self, the Gneyata of myself, the Gneyata. देखो, to others, I need not prove myself. Why? Because there is nobody other than me. To myself, I need not prove myself because I am already that. To prove only the Gneyata is used. No. Gneya means to be known, to be shown, to be known. So it's nobody other than me for whom I have to show myself. Therefore, in the self, the showiness of Gneyata is not there. And I am already that. यार मुझे अपने आप को क्या जानना है? It is not Gneya Vastu there. From the world standpoint, where we have kept the world as Gneya, to pull our attention, in the beginning it said, world is not Gneya, Atma is Gneya, world is not Praptavya, Atma is Praptavya. These are the words used. Later on, you are that Baba. उसके अलावा और कोई है ही नहीं. आप किसको बताओगे मैं ये हूँ करके? और खुद को बोलने की क्या जरूरत है? Can the Lord Sun early morning daily says, I am Surya, I am having heat, I am having light, I am giving it to everyone. Is the light in the sun is Gneya to him? That much फासला भी नहीं है. It's not a Gneya. I am that. मैं अपने आप को जानने वाला चीज नहीं हूं बाबा. मैं ही हूं. जानना क्या उधर? जरूरत भी नहीं उसका. आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग इम्पॉसिबल भी है वो. वही तो गफलत हो गया. यू ट्राई टू नो योर सेल्फ, यू कुड नॉट नो योर सेल्फ, देयरफॉर यू स्टार्टेड नोइंग योर नॉट सेल्फ. अपने आप को देखना चाहा, देख नहीं पाया, इसलिए देखने को नहीं छोड़ा. तो जो अपने आप नहीं है, अनात्मा है, उसको देखना शुरू किया. वेरी ट्रिकिश दिस श्लोक. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. ओके. आदि बुद्धाः प्रकृत्यैव सर्वे धर्माः सुनिश्चिताः यस्यैवं भवति क्षान्तिः सः अमृतत्वाय कल्पते. आदि बुद्धाः प्रकृत्यैव सर्वे धर्माः सुनिश्चिताः यस्यैवं भवति क्षान्तिः सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते. These are the final touches. Before getting up from that meditational seat and shouting in ecstasy, Eureka, Eureka, Eureka. Ha, ooh, ha, ooh, ha, ooh. Ahamannam, ahamannam, ahamannam. Ahamannado, ahamannado, ahamannada. Before that ecstasy happens, the finishing touches are this. These shlokas are very sublime. I'll just say the literal meaning today. पूरा आप कल देखना. कहते हैं आदि बुद्धाः प्रकृत्या एव सर्वे धर्माः सुनिश्चिताः. By decision, conviction, all the dharmas, mean the atmas, are adi buddhaha. Right from beginning, they are of the nature of illumination. They are nature of illumination. They are not an object to be illuminated by something else. And there is nothing other than it to illuminate it also. Here Adi Buddha Prakriti Eva. Sarve Dharma is Sunishchita. In this way, there is no Gneyatva also is required. Understanding? It is to be known. Nahi hai wo. It is already awakened to itself. There is nobody other than it to know it or to be known by it. Like in Nidra, I don't know anyone. I don't know myself. In Swapna, I know myself, Swapna Purusha, and I know Swapna Jagat. In the Jagrata Jagat, I know Jagrata Purusha and the very vastly expressed Jagrata Avastha. In the Atma Anubhuti, I know I am, other than me there is no thing, therefore I am not even called a Gneya Vastu also. Gneya to whom? किसको आपको जानने वाले योग्य वस्तु हो? अपने आप को. अरे यू आर ऑलरेडी दैट. हाउ कैन यू टॉक दैट आई एम द नोअर ऑफ माई सेल्फ? This knowingness doesn't fall. To be known is not the self. Self is self, that's it. Even that fasla or effort also is not there. I'm already that. उसमें इतना एकमेव अद्वैता है कि उसको दो करके एक जानने वाली चीज है, दूसरा उसको जानता है. वो डिफरेंशिएशन भी नहीं होगा. दैट्स कॉल्ड आदि बुद्धाः प्रकृत्या एव सर्वे धर्माः सुनिश्चिताः यस्य एवं भवति क्षान्तिः. The one whose entire quietening of research happens inside, having discovered this truth, sahamritatvaya kalpate, he only cherished the amrtatva. Little beautiful shloka. Today, tomorrow we'll try. These 10 श्लोका मैंने कहा ना, आपके लिए मैं पूरा कोशिश करता हूँ एक्सप्लेन करने का, और मुझे भी टाइम चाहिए to study and deeply explain. Once this is over, then where do we talk about Mandukya? हो गया, चाहिए तो आप रिकॉर्ड ही सुनोगे ना. So today we'll stop here. आदिबुद्धा प्रकृते वा सर्वे धर्मा सुनिश्चिताः यस्येवं भवदीक्षान्ति सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते आदिशान्ता ह्यनुत्पन्नाः प्रकृत्यैव सुनिर्वृताः सर्वे धर्मा समाभिन्नाः अजं साम्यं विशारदं वैशारद्यं त्वयि नास्ति भेदे विचरतां सदा वेदनिम्नाः पृथग्वादाः तस्मात् ते कृपणाः स्मृताः अजे साम्ये तु एकेचित् भविष्यन्ति सुनिश्चिताः ते हि लोके महाज्ञानः तच्च लोको न गाहते अजे स्वजमसङ्क्रान्तं धर्मेषु ज्ञानमिष्यते यतो न अक्रमते ज्ञानम् असङ्गं तेन कीर्तितम् अणुमात्रेऽपि वैधर्म्ये जायमाने अविपश्चितः असङ्गता सदा नास्ति किमुतावरणच्युतिः अलब्धावरणाः सर्वे धर्माः प्रकृतिनिर्मलाः आदौ बुद्धाः सदा मुक्ताः बुध्यन्ते इति नायकाः क्रमते नहि बुद्धस्य ज्ञानं धर्मेषु तायिनः सर्वे धर्माः सदा ज्ञानं नैतद्बुद्धेन भाषितं दुर्दर्शमतिगम्भीरम् अजं साम्यं विशारदम् उद्वापदम् अनानात्वं नमस्कुर्म यथाबलं दुर्दर्शमतिगम्भीरम् अजं साम्यं विशारदम् उद्वापदम् अनानात्वं नमस्कुर्म यथाबलम् इति गौडपादे कारिकासहित माण्डुक्योपनिषदि चतुर्थबला शान्ति प्रकरण ओम शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ओम 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 ओम. Don't compromise with our morning Upanishad class at any cost. Just to be with the Guru Parampara. They are also struggling like you to convey to you this thought of the Upanishad. And one day they'll succeed, we'll succeed. ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः परमर्षिभ्यो नमः परब्रह्मणे नमः श्रुतिमात्रे नमः मंडकुमार्षे नमः गौडपादाचार्य वर्याय नमः आद्यशंकरद्गुरवे नमः अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः तत्सत् ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु. Okay. 2 minutes, you just give me. We'll study our Vidurniti.